Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, this is the topic of discussion. It is a switch. Now this switch is going to be for two different pieces of my build. It is going to be for number one, this PEC unit, and number two is going to be for my flashlight, which is going to run on the side here, which I haven't received yet. I've got another one here, which is not the right size, and I've probably shown you in videos before on this XM5 what that looks like, which I just think is too big, so I have another one coming. But this probably is my favorite switch to run for the electronics or for the tactical lights and lasers on my replicas. Now this is real steel, and it is something that you can get repros of. So the name of this is the Unity Tactical Axon. Effectively, it's just got two switches right here. It's got this top one here, and then it has this smaller one there. The reason I love this is because of the angle of it. I'm going to show you an install of this fairly quickly so you can see what it's going to look like and feel like. Obviously I don't have the flashlight on here, but I do have another one set up on my Mark 18, which I will show you straight away afterwards so you can kind of see the functionality a bit better. But this came just in the post just now, so I thought it is quite a good opportunity just to show you guys the next stage of the XM5 build from TOXICANT, as well as kind of how I install this and kind of what I think of it, why I like it, etc., and the cost of putting this on. So they actually do two different models. The one I was running before was this, which is their TAPS model. Again, they're both going to sit on the top here. So you're going to be able to mount them, and then when you have your hand in place over the top of the handrail, it is in, should be in almost a perfect position to push those so that you're not having to reach around. You do have on this PEC box here a pressure switch right here, which will activate it. But I'm going to have this off so you guys can see the laser as well. So you see the... Oh, sorry, wrong one. I'm trying to do this in reverse. You can see the laser there, the green laser sticking out there. The other one is for the IR laser, so you can see it at nighttime. But I am going to open this up now and just install it. Hopefully this should be a pretty easy install. But I liked this a lot, the TAPS version that they did. This is kind of a version they did earlier, and it's great. It's really functional. I don't think the repros are going to be quite to the same standard in terms of, like how sensitive they are with their pressure, the actual click of them. Like, this is meant for real steel, used by people on real steel firearms, but not only that, it's used on, I think some kind of forces use them, army, special forces. Don't hold me to that, but I've definitely seen them on some of the weapons that they're carrying. Again, if YouTube's here, this is not real. This is a fake toy that I'm using right here. So basically what this is going to do is it's just going to sit here on top, and that's going to allow my thumb to kind of have two positions, and that's why I like this one a lot more. It almost tells you where and which switch is going to do what, because it's different angles on it, but also you almost have that pressure to kind of push against with your thumb, where I think you don't really have that with the other one. You're almost like trying to grip over. When I just have my natural grip, like my kind of C-clamp style grip on the actual rail, that is kind of natural feeling for me, and I just know where it is at all times. So this is a fairly easy install. You get two, you actually do have two ways of mounting it. In the actual package, which this comes with, you have two of these mounts, which are going to mount to your Picatinny. I always like to mount mine on the top. I always thought that I would like mounting it in other places, and they do another version of this, which is for mounting on M-LOK, so you can buy that separately. That's like an M-LOK mount that they do. But to be honest, I always actually just like having it on the top. I kind of thought with this, how you have these angled M-LOK rails, it might make sense to have that switch somewhere like this in that position. So that's something I may switch to. But for right now, and how I'm going to show you guys how I'm mounting this, I'm going to be putting it on in the way that I think I'm going to like it. So that is kind of where that's sitting there. You're going to have another one on the other side. So that should... I'm just going to actually loosely attach these so that we have them in place. These can be a little bit finicky. I just know this from prior experience. One of the sides here has like a little hex bolt area. So you almost have to sit the hex bolt in there and not lose it, because if that falls out, like I'm trying to do now, then you can be in a bit of trouble. Let me just push this in place. So that is there. And then the other one, I'm just going to put in here as well. Sorry if you can't see this very close up, but that's what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to place that on the side and then have the other one here. And then it's going to allow me just to thread these through, and I'm just going to loosely, I'm going to put that through first. I'm going to loosely put these on so that they're not secured in place, but they're kind of in the right spot. And I'm going to need a small hex here. I think that's going to be the right size, or maybe slightly too big. Yeah, that works. So that's going to sit just gently in here. And it does push the like hex bolt out, so you may just have to be a little bit wary of that. So I'm just going to sit this one on, and I think I will probably want it as far forward as I can get it on here, which with these leads you may just have to do some kind of jimmying around to get it in place. But I think that is probably going to be the best position for me. So that's kind of where it's going to sit, just behind the pec box. Oh, lost the hex bolt there, which would have been an absolute nightmare. So I'm just going to stick that back in so that we actually have that in place. And then I'm just going to tighten this guy up. And then what I do find with these is I think it's going to be great in one location. And what it ends up actually happening is I say, oh, right, actually, I don't like it there. And I'm going to move it and adjust it. So I'm not going to do this up fully yet. And the other thing you're going to want to do is get some kind of wire kind of control. You can get little mounts for the wires that actually, little M-LOK slots for the wires, which just hold them in place. I don't think I have any of those out here right now. That would actually be great if I had that for you to show you. I'll try and show you that in another video. I'll link them below so you guys can do that. And then I'm going to have two leads here. This is a crane lead, which is going to go into this pec box. This is a Somo gear pec box, so it's as close to kind of real steel as you can without paying an insane amount of money. And then this is the Surefire lead, which is going to go in the back of a Surefire flashlight. So that is going to allow me on the pec box here to run laser, and then also the IR laser and the IR flashlight, and that's going to depend just on here where I flick and select. So normally for day-to-day play, I'll just have this selected on the green visible laser, and then I'll have this unit, this one that will go into the back of my flashlight, normally mount it here. Again, I need to do some lead control on this, but I'll probably push that one through here, and then I'll have the flashlight sitting right here alongside. And you can get two different models of this. You can get the sync model, and then you can get the unsync model, or the regular model. The sync model I like more because of the fact that it means that this button right here is going to control both whatever I have selected on my pec box as well as the flashlight. So effectively I can have my laser and my flashlight on from one push. The unsync model is going to have one button, and the other one is just going to do my pec box. So that if I've got it set to laser, is just going to do laser, no flashlight. And then the non-sync model basically has one switch for each one. So if you want to control this, then you can click this in. If you want to control the other one, then you can click this in. This is a kind of physical click, so you can actually just click that in and hold it on. So if I want to keep my flashlight and my laser on, I can just hit that in. It's also pressure. And then this actually is just a pressure. I think you can double tap it to put it on fully. But I'm going to kind of just test out where that is now. So with my stock extended, that is where my hand's going to sit. I actually may kind of feel like I'd kind of wanted a little bit further, but if you're C-clamping, you know, you have that right there to use. I can kind of, you know, you can see the laser there. I don't want to shine it into the screen, but you can see there, I've got the laser control. If I want to, oh, I'm not turning it off right now, which is not good. It might be because I've hit it on here. Hold on. That's off. So that's putting it auto on. Okay, there we go. So basically I had that switch clicked in. So what I can do is kind of just push the, put some slight pressure on here, and that is going to just put it up, or I can click it in and that's going to leave that laser on full time. If I switch it over on here to IR laser, then that's just going to do IR laser. If I flick it over to IR flashlight, then that's going to do IR flashlight or IR laser and IR flashlight at the same time. So what I will end up doing is I'll probably use this switch just when I'm using it in, like, with night vision on inside, so I can see that IR. And what I actually have on my Surefire, which I'll show you on here, is it's the Surefire which switches it also to IR. So I can just switch that over to IR. If I use both, I'm just getting extra illumination with the IR flashlights, both of them, and then I'm also getting an IR laser. So that's kind of best case scenario. It's a lot more expensive to do that. So most people will just get a regular Surefire, or you'll get a, this is a Streamlight, a lot cheaper, like $130 instead of like $300-400. And you can get adapters like this little tail cap adapter that will allow me then to use this Surefire lead straight into that. You can get different leads with these, and so you can get like a USB-C lead, which you can get different adapters for, or you get and one's for an NGAL, etc. But it's kind of annoying. It's quite hard to find ones, for instance, for this Streamlight. You kind of need to do an adapter. So you do want to think out which flashlight am I going to have and which leads do I need. The cost of this thing is $175. So it's a lot of money, and you could probably pick up a repro for about $40. I think this, in terms of if you're paying for a real steel optic, it's worth a lot more to do that rather than paying for a real steel one of these. Like, it's amazing and it's great and the control is awesome, but it's definitely something which, you know, like the how pushable that is and the tactile function, whether it's like waterproof or not, isn't going to matter with airsoft like it is with a real steel firearm. And it's not going to be as it's not going to be as important as being able to see through your sight. So if you were going to spend the money and just say, which one should I get? I would go for the real steel optic. Obviously, you still need to get something which is going to be a good quality PEC box. You can get the repro PEC boxes, and just be aware they're not going to take this crane style cable. They're going to take something which is not quite as big. It's not as good. So this Axon won't necessarily work with that. Taps, again, I run the same. So I've got the crane attachment there, the crane plug, and then I've got the Surefire. So you can kind of see how that is. But this is what it's going to look like on my XM5. So that, I think, is going to look pretty cool. I got it in FDE, so it kind of like plays in and kind of tunes in with everything. And it's kind of just stuck there behind. So I think actually that's going to be a good position. The other thing I may end up doing is, where is it? Oh, the other thing I need to do is they give you a little plug here. And was this plug, I should probably take it out of the reflective plastic bag. This little plug. And so that plug is just going to go into this here, this little space. And that space is going to allow you, I believe, to just mount it directly on with M-LOK. So now that little plug is sitting in that little space there. So you can see here, like, it's really tactile, just in terms of it is. You can hear the click. And then that's just a push. But instant, like the actual touch to when you see it is instant. I can actually also double tap this, and that will also put it on full time. I can single tap it, it'll come off. I can double tap that and it's going to stay on. I can just click it in and it's going to stay on. So it's just, you can use it in so many ways. If it was me and you're going to run a separate PEC box and a separate flashlight, whether that's an IR and regular or a normal flashlight, I would go with the sync model. I think it is slightly more expensive. But that kind of runs through what this is. And so I'm going to show you quickly what it looks like on my Mark 18 because I use that a lot and I've positioned it perfectly. I probably will still play around with this. I'll probably put a little extender there. That's an Arasaka extender just built for the Surefire flashlight. So it'll probably push this out a little bit further so the flashlight can shine beyond the suppressor. Because a lot of the time, if you just have the Surefire mounted here when the suppressor's on, it just kind of blocks a huge amount of where that light's going to go. So it generally is pretty good to have it quite far forward. So that's the Arasaka inline mount. I think that's about $30, but worth getting. And as you can see, with this is on here, it's great, but it takes up a lot more space, and the movement that you're going to have with your thumb is going to be a lot greater. So that's the TAPS one. I think that's slightly cheaper. Still a great product and great to use, but I don't think it's as good. Not for me anyway. And then that is the M-LOK adapter. So if I want to decide to run it here, if it just feels more comfortable, because this is quite a chunky rail, I may play around with that and just see if that fits my hand a bit better or if I'm liking that more. But with this angle on it, I don't know, like the side of my thumb, if that's just going to catch. Whereas with this, like, because it's kind of that indented area, it means you're not knocking it unless you're trying to, which is a big deal. Because obviously if you put your flashlight on and everyone knows where you are when you're trying to stay quiet, it's not great. So you do need to push it, and it's kind of got this little area, this sunken area around the actual switch where, you know, like it's very comfortable for your thumb just to sit in there. So for me, it kind of like is my natural position anyway, almost gives you like an upper hand stop. And like, it's just something I love. If you guys aren't getting that from me talking through it, it's something I really like. So that is it on my XM5 from TOXICANT. That build is coming along, and hopefully you'll be able to see it in its completed format very soon. And then I'm going to show you quickly what it looks like on my Mark 18. This is a Tokyo Marui Mark 18 TMMWS. And I love the Daniel Defense grip, and I love the Daniel Defense stock because it is a Daniel Defense based Mark 18. And then this is this foregrip as well. And so you can probably see here, I've actually got the Hydra mount, so it keeps my pec box up and higher. I do like that a lot because I like having just this space on the front, but it does, I don't think it's going to look as good on that XM5. So just from a what's going to look better standpoint, I'm going to keep that like that, and I'm going to keep this like this. I know this is a bit of a mixed bag. Some people love it, some people hate it. I really like it just from how I used it. And it means that I've got my flashlight right here. So that's a Surefire. This is an IR flashlight as well as a white. And so you can see I've got the selection there, white, and I can switch it to off, and then underneath there is IR. And so that is going to turn it into an IR flashlight. So if I'm at night with my night vision, I'll just click that over, switch it to IR. I'm going to have this, and then this is where my thumb sits on that Axon. And I absolutely love it. Obviously, without that pec box on the front, I can adjust where it is a lot more. But you can see there, when I have that, I've got the green laser right here, and I've got the flashlight on. And then if I push this one, it's just green laser. So I like the Sync model, which is the same. And as you can see, it just kind of like plays in with it a lot. So this is probably the gas blowback that I've used the most, that I like. You know, I've now switched over a lot to VFC, APFG, TOXICANT, but generally I absolutely love Tokyo Marui, and this, in terms of like the replica, is definitely the one that I've used more than anything. I don't know if you've seen my actual custom video of how I built this, but if you haven't, go and check it out. You'll be able to see what I've done with this exactly. I talk through everything. But I really like this. So if you guys are thinking, is it worth paying that money for? I would say yes, if you've got the money to spend, but you can get repros of it, and I'll see if I can find a link to a repro that's good, but I don't really like recommending anything that I haven't tried myself. So if you want that Axon Unity Tactical Axon, it's recommended by me. However, I'm not sure about some of the repros. I do have guys I play with who use repros, and they really like them. So that's me, guys, for today. I hope this has been useful and you've got some value out of it, and I will see you very soon on the next video. Goodbye.